Life is generally viewed as a positive thing, but paradoxically is the very institution that guarantees our death, which is then viewed as a negative. It is important that individuals ponder at least the basics of this dilemma, as all other future scenarios in life will ultimately stem from the deductions one makes here. Before we go any further, warning. If you are a surface dweller, philosophical light, probably best you stay in the boat for now. The truth must dawn slowly, else all be blind. Here we will be diving down to the deep, dark, crushed depth levels of thought. That's the easy part. The hard part is trying to keep emotions and judgment out of our conclusions. Example, disregard everything I've just said, as it is reason to assume people will do exactly what they are not asked to do, because in past experiments using the holy trinity of reason, logic and evidence, we have concluded people are predominantly subconscious and emotionally charged beings who have the capacity to use these tools in order to revise these emotional patterns, usually, but not exclusively, under stress. I'm going to make what may seem to be an obvious statement here, but on further investigation is an emotionally violent statement, so stand back. Life is hard. Let's dive a little deeper and change the word life for reality. Are they not one and the same thing? True, life is not hard all the time. Neither is reality. However, over the general course of things, I think most people would agree that life, reality, is for the most part at least difficult. Some people overcome their difficulties, which was hard. Some people have to accept their difficulties in order to survive, which is hard. And some people are crushed by their difficulties, which is, again, hard. Reality is the biggest turn-off in the world today. Capitalists who now have had a taste of the good life find it wanting and are experimenting with communism. Communists want capitalism. Buddhists want Zen. TV, sex, movies, drugs, alcohol are all popular escapisms used to deal successfully with individual realities. But what about the people who don't deal successfully with their reality? Well, they usually fall into two categories. The suicidal, who I have the utmost respect and sympathy for, and then there are the jihadi types. Firstly, the average suicidal person is of above average intelligence, morality, and for the most part has correctly identified something of an ultimate truth about the nature of our existence. A non-issue so far. The problem arises with the acidic response they receive when they convey their messages to family, friends and society, whose usual response is judgment. Suddenly, Aristotle finds he is married to Rachel Maddow and has conceived Justin Trudeau and Lily Allen, and his best friend is Jeremy Corbyn. You'd be suicidal as well. Dare I explain this to the medical community, but there is a direct correlation between male, female voting patterns and suicide rates. This is a very similar phenomenon to what happens to apostates in the Islamic community, where they are literally bumped off by flesh and blood rather than bring shame to the family. We in the West practice a very similar thing, be it covertly. The bottom line is the family unit is conditional, and therefore, by extension, friendship, society, and nationhood is also. An individual can only exercise their freedom within an accepted envelope of a given institution. Absolute freedom is somewhat of a myth. This is the human condition, warts and all, and is such a profound realization a large number of people take their own lives before they can come to terms with it. I did warn you. The trick is not to judge. Remove yourself from the environment if deemed fit, but have compassion for the human condition, and by extension, have compassion for yourself. Forgive people, as we are fundamentally flawed as a species, hence why I put so much emphasis on the Holy Trinity mentioned earlier. The main issue I have with the second type is how shockingly unimpressive the jihadis are. I can't help but compare them to SJWs, be it on a different magnitude, as they usually have similar backgrounds, middle class, well educated, and can't make it in the free world. I am sorry to point out the vulgar obvious, but there would be 22 more people in the world right now if the Manchester bomber simply had the minerals to hold down a day job. I don't buy for one moment that these people believe in virgins are waiting for them in paradise. This is simply about fame. These people are depressed, suicidal individuals who can't handle the reality of their existence, so they adopt the worst elements of both cultures. From the West, they adopt the sanctity associated with fame and then use a religious text as a vehicle by which to achieve it. It's extreme virtue signaling, Islamic celebrity culture of sorts. It is something of a testament to the failures of Islam, considering it couldn't relieve this guy of his depression or insecurities. This is a good segue to the next topic. The absolute inability, myself included, to face the reality of the seconds, minutes, hours, days, months, years we are in. Constantly looking for something or someone to blame. Hitler, Bush, capitalism, communism, nationalism, globalism, racism, etc. Change plus humans are constants. However, it does not follow that one automatically capitulates to change. Rather, using the Holy Trinity, try to construct an informed, coherent reaction of what usually consists of action, inaction, or even defeat. I could substitute the word change for strife. Therefore, the maths would go something like this. Human plus strife equals capitalism, communism, immigration, Islam, racism, ad infinitum. The point is, there is an infinite amount of variables to this equation, none of which are constants within themselves. It is incredibly tempting to invert this process. Simply put, life and strife are the same thing. The role of the individual is to break strife into processable blocks, while simultaneously grappling with the reality that an externality will someday not permit this. Suffering, or at least an element of suffering, is the natural state of our existence. Since we now know that this is an absolute truth, it follows absolute acceptance of this truth is vital for our survival. To sum up, just accepting life as it is, right here and right now, without prejudice, without judgment. Remain present and develop your skills by extending yourself from this position. Always ready to fall back into acceptance if overwhelmed. This brings us right back to where we started. It is a simple concept, but a hard one.